Hello and how are you? Welcome into another week of exciting talk here on Exiles TV. Along with Bill Profita, I'm Kevin Gallagher. Glad to have you with us. Monday morning, it's the 16th.
It is indeed. My, how time flies.
10 days, Thanksgiving.
We actually have seasonal weather today.
Yeah, feels great.
It's the right temperature and the right humidity.
The missus was saying, it's kind of chilly in the house today. Do you want to fire up the heat? I said, not just yet. I said, tell you what, if you want to feel warm, instead of me doing it, you take the trash cans out to the curb this morning. Then when you walk back in, it'll be nice and toasty.
Yeah, work up a little sweat.
She didn't.
Did you want to do that?
No, she
didn't want to do that.
No.
It's been an interesting weekend in terms of crime. It hasn't gone down. This young man, Kobe Beauchamp, that was in your neck of the woods. Are you hearing any buzz about this?
I have not heard any buzz other than what's already been published in the newspaper, that this guy had apparently been, he'd been dead for almost 2 weeks, that his body was found in between a storage shed and the fence. Because most every home and yard in Shenandoah Estates is fenced in, whether it's hurricane fence or board slat fence. The fellow who's been arrested for shooting him is also an 18-year-old. I believe Mr. Beauchamp was 19.
Yes.
An 18-year-old who's the son of someone who lives in a neighborhood, and he said he was familiar with the guy. He knew he was up to no good, and he had a reputation for doing bad things. So he fired off a shot in his direction, hoping to scare him away.
Now,
apparently his scare him away shot was pretty dead on.
And again, nobody has reported any indication that this young man who is dead has any kind of criminal record or doing bad things at all.
Okay, it is possible to engage in bad things for some amount of time and not have a criminal record. Just means you haven't been caught yet.
Yeah.
So, was Cody Beauchamp a guy who did bad things, or was he mistaken for someone else? I don't know. But funeral services are arranged for him, but I think there's a lot more to this case than we know, and I think that there was something personal between these two gentlemen.
Well, the thing is, you can't, just because you suspect somebody's up to no good, you can't put a rifle to your shoulder, because it was a rifle round, and pop somebody who's not threatening you or not forcibly entering your home.
Yeah, here's the law. I don't care if he's skulking around the tool shed in the back of your yard between the tool shed and the fence. Until he tries to enter your home, you're not allowed to squeeze off a shot. You just can't.
I have a feeling that there is going to be more to this story after they do a little more investigation.
I think they'll get another version of the truth from the young man after he's, been interviewed by detectives a couple more times.
Yeah.
But I definitely think there's more to it than that. I haven't heard anything like, well, he was an angel. I haven't heard any of that kind of stuff.
I know he was a dad who they showed a lot of pictures. He spent a lot of time with his son, lots of pictures of him. And again, there's nobody that said he was in and out of trouble, and that normally follows almost
No, we only have the
immediately.
shooter's word for that he was known for doing bad things.
So, I don't know. So, former Governor Edwin Edwards.
In and out the hospital.
In and out the hospital. I didn't realize he'd made it to 93.
Oh, yeah.
But they took him in on Friday. He does not have coronavirus or pneumonia. He had what's called a head cold. The rhinovirus had got him. They, after the fourth nurse got pinched, they said, "You could go." They said, "That's your number." Once four of the nurses had fingerprints on their butts, they pronounced him back in action and sent him home.
God bless him. That guy is like made of iron.
He is something else.
93 years of age. I should live so long. But somehow I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, one never knows with modern medical science. Like, we could start freezing pieces of ourselves now. Mm-hmm. And then
be reassembled.
Yeah, and be reanimated piece by piece. It's easier, see, because you have to kind of like almost go dead to do the whole thing. So, like, when we're on the final version, all right, put him in the chiller, and then we'll reassemble him with his arms and his legs and all that, and bring him back together. What do you think?
Sounds like a plan. I remember an old movie from like the 70s where what was going on is rich and influential people were having their bodies cloned. And the bodies were, kind of mindless, just kind of like, not any higher brain function. And then when things got bad for them, they'd have like a 21-year-old version of themselves, and they just transfer their consciousness into the clone, which is the real science fiction part. We know you can clone people, but that transferring the consciousness, that's a little complicated now, isn't it?
Yeah, all of that gets a little.
Of course, it's always nice in movies when you just, you put a little tinfoil headgear on them and flip a switch. And it's like transfer that consciousness.
Before we break, ran into an old friend of ours and a sponsor of our old radio program.
Yeah, why aren't they sponsoring this program?
Well, if you'll let me do my thing here, they may be. But Charlie Calandro of Calandro's.
How they doing?
He's doing great, and they did you can order the wine at discount prices from the St. Francisville Food and Wine Festival, which was yesterday. I saw Charlie, and he talked, and he is available to watch TV most weekday mornings at 10 o'clock. So he said he was going to tune us in today on his AT&T Uverse, which is channel 11.
Oh, and that probably just blew it, didn't I?
Yeah.
Charlie, I was only joking, man.
But Charlie, again, particularly at the holiday season, I'm just going to throw him a bone here. They have, if you're having some sort of a holiday gathering, they will do your pairings for you. If you've got a very close friend or loved one that likes really specific bourbons, they will do. He did a bourbon and scotch tasting yesterday at his table.
Wow.
In addition to taking the orders for your wines. And they do the best gift baskets in town. People like, Brad, who's going to come on with us. It's like, what do you give him for Christmas? Hey, you're going to give him a pocket square, Hey, he saves lives every day.
Brad's probably thinking pocket squares would be nice.
So you're going to give him a nice gift basket. And they do that at Calandro's. They do really good gift baskets. So Charlie, glad you're watching. It was nice to see you yesterday. Now then, get with your advertising people and send us money. You know you want
subtle,
to.
Bill.
You know it.
Very subtle.
Your friends will tell you want to. And your brother, who hates everybody, loves me. He really does.
Quick break. Exiles TV coming right back.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Desire in your eyes, but you can't keep it in your heart. 'Cause misery loves company. 'Cause misery loves company. Cold and hungry like a dog in the street. I get a raw deal every one.
Hey, we're back with Exiles TV. A couple of quick updates on some things we talked about. I'm trying to remember the LSU football players.
Coy Moore.
Coy Moore, thank you very much. Wide receiver with the Tigers, who says that in an incident that happened just a little over a week ago, actually a week ago Saturday night, he was quote-unquote violated by police. Now, I think we're all pretty sure that he means his civil rights were violated. I don't think his physical body was violated, but this is new. This is from former Chief Pat Englade, who keeps us abreast of all matters law enforcement. And he's sharing a post here that says Baton Rouge Police Union released a statement saying that their attorney has viewed video from the incident, which will clear the officers involved. The police union is a separate entity from BRPD. And from the police union, their statement, the union urges patience to everyone waiting for the video to be released. Regrettably, the only rights that have been violated to this point are the officers' due process. The union stands firmly behind our officers and trusts the video will prove that their actions were just.
Well, that kind of calls for the question of when is the police department going to officially release the video now?
Pat Englade, one of his remarks on his own post, it's a shame that we've gotten to this point. LSU stated they were totally behind Moore before knowing the facts. The BRPD chief decided to remove his officers before an investigation was completed. Is there any difference in assuming guilt or innocence? Well, we'll see. I think eventually we'll all see the tape and we'll be left to judge for ourselves.
Eventually, the tapes from the body cam are going to have to come out. That is why they exist. For when there is a question,
Yeah.
so that you can,
It's for accountability.
so you can see them.
Right.
Now, I can understand why the lawyer for the union got to see them, because the union also represents and provides legal counsel for
officers.
BRPD officers who are members of the union.
Right.
And since about 95% of their officers are members, then we're going to assume that these are union officers. And now that he's seen it and told people that he's seen it and told people that it exonerates the officers or clears them of any wrongdoing, let's put it that way, because it's always open to interpretation. I mean, I always love, he yelled at him, he shouldn't have done that. You weren't there. And
He used harsh language.
yeah, you know, exactly. But I'm thinking that this ought to be available pretty darn soon so that everyone can see for themselves. But we shall see how that happens.
I hate to think that this football player, Coy Moore, pulled a Jussie Smollett. Because, dude, be smart. They wear body cams. If you're not telling the truth, those cameras will
The thing is,
show that.
it isn't a matter of truth or anything, it's a matter of interpretation. If this player has a mindset that he has been taught by basically leaders who like conflict because it keeps them in business, that the cops had no right to search you, he could be screaming. I mean, I have no doubt that the cops searched him. I have no doubt if they thought there was a gun, they were yelling, "Where's the gun? Where's the gun?" Whether their search went too far is what this tape and what the union's attorney said.
Yeah, there's always going to be a difference between an individual and his interpretation of his civil rights violated
You got no right to stop me.
and what the law says your civil rights violated. Everybody out there when they encounter the police is a little part-time lawyer who thinks they know exactly what the law is and what the cops can and can't do. Anyway.
Well, I mean, again, there are people, and it doesn't have to be a black-white incident. It doesn't have to be a male-female incident. There are people that for years, that cop stopped me and gave me a ticket. I want an investigation. Why? Because he stopped me. Yeah, but why?
Yeah, why did he stop you?
Because he had no right to stop me.
Oh, I may have been doing 5 or 6 miles over the speed limit.
Exactly. And so,
But they're supposed to give you that.
yeah, it's not a suggestion. You know, it's really not.
That would be great, actually, on speed limit signs.
Do you know what?
65, it's not a suggestion.
You know where they have that? I mean, it doesn't say that, but you get out
That would be
into
awesome.
you get out in some of these long straightaways out in the west,
Well, in the Dakotas, they have some very high speed limits.
or they say reasonable and proper. In other words, hold my beer, Bucky. It's whatever we can handle.
Hammer down, there's not much traffic on this road.
Yeah, Yeah.
Well, I know people that take I-49 for granted. I-49 has a 75 mile an hour speed
yeah.
limit, which should be fast enough for anybody going anywhere on a trip. But I know people who hammer it down 85, 90 miles an hour. I've been passed on I-49 while doing 75, cruise control set. I've had people blow the doors off my car.
Speaking of hammer down, a friend of mine a while back got one of the new dual motor Tesla sports cars.
Dual motor.
Dual motor. And we were together this weekend, and he said this thing is kind of scary fast. And I said, really? He said, yeah, it's got two motors.
They've got a lot of torque off the line.
So he said, watch this. He said, now hang on, seriously. And I thought, oh yeah, hang on. He punched it. My head went back into that headrest. Mm-hmm. The front of my head was immediately getting achy from the G's we pulled. Mm-hmm. And he's got an acceleration timer. We went from 0 to 70 in 4.2 seconds.
Yeah.
Scary.
I believe it.
Scary.
The only Tesla I've ever ridden in was one of those first generation Teslas,
Mm-hmm.
the very first ones they released. But a local fellow, he's probably moved up a step, but a local investment counselor, BF Andy Anderson. I don't know if you know him.
I know Andy.
Andy bought one of those, and he said, "You want to take a ride in the Tesla?" And I said, "Sure." And he did the dollar bill thing. He said, "When I
Try to
say
grab
go, if you can grab that dollar bill off the dashboard, it's yours."
Uh-huh.
And that was one motor, one electric motor. So yeah, they've got a lot of torque. By the way, we're talking LSU. A new report by investigators at USA Today claims that LSU officials mishandled sexual misconduct allegations against students,
I'm shocked. I tell you, shocked.
including several top athletes. The report claims that LSU failed to get the Title IX office or police involved when federal laws and school policies required it. In August, USA Today found rape allegations against Darius Geis by two women were doubted, ignored, not properly investigated, and not reported to the proper authorities.
Now, who is the author of this report? Is it the NCAA or who is it?
Well, the story I'm reading is Michael Vincent's story on WAFB.com.
It says a new report.
But he's citing investigators at USA Today. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, it's USA Today's story, and he's merely translating it for the local audience.
Well, it may be their story, but I don't think it's a report, and I don't think it's an investigation.
Well, let me read on. In a new report published Monday, November 16th, investigators say at least 7 LSU officials had knowledge of Drake Davis's violent relationship with his girlfriend, but sat on the information for months while Davis continued to assault and strangle her. He's been arrested multiple times for battery of a dating partner and domestic abuse, and was kicked off the team in 2018. You might remember his name.
Yeah.
He was expelled 4 months after his criminal conviction, 10 months after he'd already left the school. So this is a report from USA Today.
Well, I think that what is sad about this is that there's a lot of whistling past the graveyard, and it's not just at LSU.
Oh, I think this is probably fairly common in colleges if student athletes get into trouble, especially student athletes that you're depending on for a successful season.
I think the potential for it to be very, very common with high-achieving academics and doctoral students and researchers and certain prized professors is also rather endemic.
Thank you for saying certain prized professors, by the way. Thank you.
And
thanks for adding that to the list.
Is rather
you're
endemic,
right.
you know?
It's called CYA, but sometimes your A gets viewed later down the road anyway.
Well, and also,
no matter how much you try to CY it.
there is a great big, as our police friends will tell us, as the DA will tell us, there is a great big systemic, long-running culture of discouragement. Well, you don't want to actually press charges. You're going to have to testify, and you're going to be labeled and marked. And I mean, they're leading with this.
It's going to just turn into such a mess. Can't we just cut you a check?
Yeah, I mean, there is a great big culture of discouragement.
Yep.
And that makes it an even bigger crime, in my opinion.
Okay, you ready to take another break?
No, let's just ramble for a while.
Yeah, let's take another.
So what'd you have for dinner last night?
peanut butter sandwich.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that. Okay, we're going to go to a break now. We'll be back in a moment on Exiles TV.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Surprise, something good has finally happened in 2020. Yours truly, the Clarence Bugg Show, gets to be with you every day of the week. That's right, 11 to 12 every weekday. And of course, the Exiles right in front of yours truly from 10 to 11, yours truly 11 to 12. So now it's appointment viewing. 5 days a week here on the Pelican. The Clarence Bugg Show. The only thing missing is you.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Fruge Jr., and I am a general dentist at Fruge Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology, which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Right now, during the Team Honda Upgrade event, get a new 20 Accord Sport for just $309 a month with no money down, no first payment, and no security deposit. It's time to upgrade to your new Honda at Louisiana's #1 new car dealer, Team Honda on Segan Lane.
A lot happened during that commercial.
Exactly. You don't know what the hell during the commercials. Hey, we're back with Exiles TV, and joining us in the set of chairs, Lieutenant Brad Harris with East Baton Rouge Parish E.M.S. There are more and greater technologies going into ambulances now to see to it that you survive an ambulance ride to the hospital. Nowadays, it's not just a matter of throwing you in the back of that thing and getting you to the hospital.
Scoop and swoop.
You can start treating that patient in the back of the ambulance. What have you got that's new today?
Okay, so this is our Zoll X Series advanced monitor. Every ambulance department has an EKG monitor. They do various things. This one here in particular, on top of just getting a picture of your heart, it also looks at your oxygen level, your CO2 level, your temperature. It can defibrillate you if your heart goes into an arrhythmia and that sort of thing. So these new monitors that we just currently got, we got 43 of these. Our old monitors were exactly like this, except this one has some new features on it.
Yeah, that's what generated my interest when I called you, because I saw some of these new features, and it's like, this is really, really advanced technology.
It is.
That can really help you help patients a lot more efficiently.
Correct.
All right, where do we start telling people about the new stuff that's on this?
Okay, so people that are not familiar with this device, so you'll see on the screen here, it's got what we call your EKG tracing. So that's the little green line there, yeah.
So that is a simulated beat, right?
That's a simulated beat.
That's a healthy person.
That's a healthy person. That's what a normal heartbeat should look like. The number 72 is your beats per minute. That's how fast it's beating. The purple is your respiratory rate, and then the yellow would be your oxygen level if we had that attached. So this is all very standard. This is what our old monitors, look like prior to getting these. The new features, this actually has a bag valve mask monitor. So this is a bag valve mask for anybody that's not familiar with it. So if you're not breathing, we have to help you breathe. We would attach this to a tube, and we could squeeze the bag and it delivers oxygen. Prior to the new monitor, we could not capture how much oxygen you were getting. I'm sorry, not oxygen, but how much tidal volume you were getting.
Yeah.
So how hard you squeeze the bag, if you do it big versus little, so it'll tell you now how much volume they're getting. It tells you their respiratory rate and as far as, their CO2 levels.
And chances are good, if you need one of these used on you, you're not going to know it.
You will not know it.
You will be out.
So another feature that's on here is, so people that have a traumatic brain injury, like a concussion, they got in a car accident, that sort of thing, we want to look at all various different types of vital signs at the same time.
Okay.
So once your head starts to swell from the trauma, so if you get hit in the head, your brain starts to swell, you bleed, whatnot, it's going to put pressure on all your vessels. So your pressure inside your head's going to increase. So we want to make sure we're ventilating you properly, that we're not hyperventilating you, giving you too much ventilation, or hypo, which is giving you too little. So this actually has a monitor on it for traumatic brain injuries, so it'll give you an alarm. So it'll say you're not bagging fast enough, or you need to bag faster or slower or whatnot. So that's another feature.
Now, as we go through this,
Whereas up to this point, it was only guesswork on the part of the EMT, right?
Not per se guesswork. I mean, you just had to look at the monitor and know, you had to count in your head, okay, I need to give 10 breaths a minute. So you give a breath, and then you count, and then you give another breath. This will actually tell you need to do it now.
And this telemetrically goes to the ER as well.
Correct. So we have another feature on here where we can actually share our screen with the doctor in the hospital. So as we're on the call, or right now, I can hit a button and send what's on this screen to the hospital. So when we give our report to the hospital, they can actually see what our vital signs are and how the patient is doing.
Now, one of the neatest things, let me hold this up a little bit if you want to come in for the tight shot again. All right, so am I reading this right, that this little pad here replaces your big butt sitting over my chest and punching down on it?
So no, this does not actually do CPR for you. So what would you do? So what you do is basically, if you have someone that is in cardiac arrest, their heart's not beating, you would do CPR. Mm-hmm. This little puck here gives us more information. It tells us how good the compressions are. It tells you, if you're not compressing deep enough or fast enough, it'll actually tell you, and it'll say compress harder, compress faster.
So that would sit on the patient's sternum?
Yes.
And you would actually do your compressions on top of that?
Correct. So it would be placed just like this, the pad over the right chest, and then this pad down here on the side. And this target is where you would do the CPR. So you would actually, do your compressions on that, and as you do it, it's going to generate a waveform on here, and it'll tell you how deep you're doing it and how fast. Once the call's over, we can actually download all that information, the entire course of the call. So if the call lasts 20 minutes, it'll give you 20 minutes of data, and it'll tell you, okay, you paused too long, you should have done more CPR, you should have done less. And people, they tire. So the American Heart recommends every 2 minutes you switch rescuers.
Okay.
So if I have someone doing CPR and they start to get tired, it'll show like, hey, they're not doing so well, so you need to switch your rescuer out so that they can do CPR.
The second pad over on the side of the abdomen, what's the purpose?
So these defibrillator pads, if your heart is not beating.
Can you defibrillate right through the pad?
Yes.
So if during the process, you just take the paddles and wham, right there.
No, these are the paddles.
Yeah, these
Those
are
the paddles.
Mm-hmm. So this is hooked to the monitor, and I can show you. So this is what the normal heartbeat looks
Let's
like.
wire Bill up and give him a shot.
So
Been there, done that. Don't need to do it again.
So if you look at the screen, now we've gone into a bad rhythm.
Okay,
So this is what's called ventricular fibrillation. So what you would want to do is you're going to want to, on the monitor here, you're going to charge the monitor.
200 joules.
Yeah. So you're going to say charge.
And then someone dramatically yells clear.
Say clear. You hit the shock button.
Boom.
Delivers a shock. Now, if it converted, it would go, hopefully into a normal sinus rhythm. That would look like what we just had before. That. And if it doesn't work, then you can shock again. So you can shock multiple times through these pads, and of course it's one pad per person. So I wouldn't reuse these. These are all disposable.
So does it also keep track, because it doesn't always work the first time,
Right.
and it doesn't always work at the lower voltage, the 200 joules. Sometimes you have to do more than one, and sometimes you have to
these
pump
are
it up a little bit.
these are biphasic pads. So what it does is actually sends an electrical charge from one pad to the other and back. So
Across
it
your arm.
goes across and back. They have another thing that you can do. The science is kind of out on it, where you can actually do stack shocks. You can actually have a second set of pads, to where you could do dual sequential defibrillation, where you shock with one monitor and another back to back. So there's lots of science out there. So it's always changing.
Everybody likes technology with their medicine. People really love technology with their emergency medicine.
Right.
What is the biggest thing that this new setup with the new technology does in terms of your interaction with the patient? Is it quicker? Is it more efficient? Is it more accurate? Is it all of the above?
It is all of the above. This is a very complex machine, and if you notice, it's all color coordinated. So when you're in an emergency situation, and I'm working on a patient, if I look at the monitor, depending on what I'm looking for, if I want to see his respiratory rate, I'll look over and I see the purple number. I know that's his respiratory rate. That's why it's all color coordinated. So if it was all white, it'd be hard to figure out where the numbers were. So everything's color coordinated on here.
Does it give you any oral, like, does it say blood pressure, or does it say respiratory rate, so that you can hear it?
No, it will not do that, but it does talk. It'll say, and it's basically just for CPR and respiratory. So it'll say bag faster. It'll say compress harder.
Oh, well, that's
that
good.
sort of thing. Yeah.
That keeps your attention on what you're doing, and you're hearing. Okay.
And is it a little computerized voice, or does it sound like Morgan Freeman?
Yeah, it's a computerized voice, and there's also alarms set on it. So if the respiratory rate drops or it gets high, blood pressure's too low, it'll flash at you and make alarms.
Well, that is just absolutely terrific. I assume that we have one of these for every EMS unit that is rolling in East Baton Rouge Parish today.
Yeah, and we have 43 of these devices.
I want to talk about this device in a moment, but we've got to take a quick commercial break.
Okay.
So if you would, I'd like to hear more about this. Obviously some kind of control panel, but a little bit more from Lieutenant Brad Harris with East Baton Rouge Parish EMS, the latest technology to help keep you alive when the ambulance comes. Go on to commercial, and we'll be right back.
There they are.
That was timely.
Yeah, it was.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
By all standards, he is a champion for consumers. Because of Public Service Commissioner Eric Scrametta, Our utility rates are 35% less than the national average, the lowest in all of America. He saved ratepayers over $8 billion. Commissioner Scremetta brought us more reliable power plants and energy-efficient solar fields. Public Service Commissioner Eric Scremetta. Keep the commissioner who keeps our rates low.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network
and Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
I owed the IRS $10,000. The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
We return with Exiles TV. How you doing?
Go to the light.
I'm Kevin. Lieutenant Brad Harris from East Baton Rouge Parish. E.M.S. is our guest, and this device is some of the latest life-saving technology that's going to be in every E.M.S. unit, so that if you have that call, if you have a heart attack or problem, they can begin treating you during the ride-in or before they even roll out of your driveway, and therefore greatly increase your chances of surviving the encounter. This control package, what will this all do?
So this is called a rhythm generator. So these little leads here would typically go on a patient, would go on their wrist and their ankles.
You're using that for demonstration purposes?
This is just for demonstration. So when it's hooked up to here, it gives us the display on there. We could change it to whichever rhythm we would like. So what you currently see is a heart rhythm, and every now and then you'll see an extra beat in there. It's called a PVC. That's a premature ventricular contraction. This one here is called atrial fibrillation.
Oh yeah, that looks bad.
Right.
Well, so you see this on television. All the medications out there that they're touting for AFib.
Yeah. So AFib basically is a very irregular rhythm. So instead of being regular, it's irregular. So the beats you might have 2 beats, 3 beats in a row, and then there might be a little pause.
And it looks racy. Is that when your heart's racing and you can't make it stop?
It can be slow. It can be fast. Just like with anything. There's this one here is called PSVT. So this is when your heart's really fast.
Another close up on that monitor, please.
So this is a rhythm that if we saw this in the field, we would have to go ahead and treat that with some medication. Not that one right there, but let's see, where's it at? There it is.
There it is.
Where it gets real fast. And you'd feel that. Your heart would be racing. So we would actually give you some medicine.
Is that I feel like my heart's jumping out of my chest?
Sometimes. You might get that. So, we give the medication to slow your heart rate down for that.
So this is good for training on the equipment or demonstrating it as you're doing right now.
Absolutely. This is something that we use every new paramedic or who's training goes through this.
So let's show people real quickly, what does the standard garden variety heart attack, the standard myocardial infarction, the most common type, look like when you guys get there?
All right, so you'll notice here that it's kind of hard to describe, but
it's barely beating.
Well, that's a slow one.
And you've also got at the end, after the big spike, which is your QRS, you've got that depressed ST segment. That's never good.
So you see, as I change the rhythm here, it kind of looks differently each time I push the button.
Yep, got it.
So this would be a really bad.
Oh, there was a big PVC in there.
So that looks really, really bad.
So you're seeing this, and you've got a 50-year-old male, and this is what you're seeing. Is this the e-ticket lights and sirens to the hospital?
Yeah, that would be something that we would deem an emergency, and we would definitely treat you right there at your house. So we had a PR campaign a few years ago called, what was it called?
Stay alive, don't drive.
I did the TV for it, as a matter of fact.
Stay alive,
spokesperson.
don't drive. So we do not want you to say, oh my gosh, I'm having chest pain, let me drive to the hospital. Because we can get to your house, we could treat you right there in your living room or wherever you happen to be. We could start giving you, the medications to help your heart before we even go to the hospital. And with this new monitor, I can transmit this to the doctor. So when the doctor in the emergency room sees that rhythm, he's going to alert the heart cath team. And so as soon as you get there, you might actually bypass the emergency room. Instead of having to wait, you're going to go straight to the cath lab.
Well, and the thing about this that I think a lot of people don't realize is you're sitting there saying, I think I'm having a heart attack. And like Karen said to me, do I need to take you to the hospital? And I said, no, you need to call 911, which I couldn't believe that was coming out of my mouth. Mm-hmm. That was my guardian angel speaking.
Sure.
But had we driven, she would have been on Bluebonnet Boulevard somewhere trying to do CPR on me one-handed,
right,
and yelling for help in the other, and it would not have been a survivable incident. And you guys never come alone. You always get
with the fire department.
The fire department.
Right.
Most of them are EMTs, not paramedics, but EMTs.
Right.
But they extra hands. So what I had at my house when I had mine was I had basically my own personal cardiac care unit for about a half an hour.
Right.
It makes no sense to drive yourself when you're going to come, when the fire department's going to come, and we've got 5 or 6 really well-trained men and women that are going to keep you going, and they're talking to the doctor at the hospital.
And even when you call 911, the dispatcher will give you advice over the phone. They'll say, put them in a position of comfort. Don't give them anything to eat or drink by mouth. You can take an aspirin if you're not allergic. So even before we arrive, they're giving you instruction over the phone. Because a lot of people just don't know that, if a wife calls for her husband, she's panicking, she doesn't know what to do. So the dispatcher will help kind of tell you step by step what you need to do until we get there.
Karen was very calm, actually. She kept saying, where are the insurance policies? Where are the insurance policies?
Brad, you just mentioned, giving them an aspirin. What does that actually do on the spot when you're having a cardiac moment?
So what causes a heart attack typically, there's various things, but typically it's caused by a clot in your heart. Mm-hmm. So your little blood vessels, if you have a clot, it'll get stuck in there and it'll cut off blood flow to a certain part of your heart.
Okay.
So hopefully the aspirin is going to help kind of let those platelets unstick and then kind of thin your blood out a little bit.
That's going to be quite some time for that aspirin to dissolve and make it.
But you want to get it on board as fast as you can.
And you actually, you want to chew it, which is not a pleasant.
Yeah, you do want to chew it, and we have, there's other things too, like heparin and things like that. There's other medications that we
How about BC pattern?
Well, that would go in real quickly, but it's like I used to for the first year after, because I had the sudden event.
Yeah.
I used to carry 5 orange-flavored chewable baby aspirins in a little container, and that it ends up being the dosage of a single aspirin.
Well, I know about aspirin because I'm a heart patient myself, and I take a children's aspirin, a low-dose aspirin,
every day. Me too.
But I didn't know in the emergency situation what the efficacy was.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Gotta chew it.
And then the other
Just what you want
medications.
while you're laying there with a trip hammer in your chest.
Gotta
chew this terrible tasting thing.
You know what? You'd be surprised. It tastes a lot better when you got the pain and you're putting it in your mouth.
Might save your life, man. It tastes delicious.
Well, the same thing that causes the heart attack, that clot, if it goes into your brain, that's what causes a stroke. Mm-hmm. If it gets into your lungs, it's a pulmonary problem. So you definitely want to have some thin blood.
We showed people the AFib on the screen.
AFib, so that's one that you would actually, if you're an AFib patient, if you have atrial fibrillation, you've been told that, you're probably on some kind of medications already, but an aspirin would be good for you as well, because this irregular heartbeat, the fibrillation is basically the heart is not pumping like this, it's actually kind of quivering. Mm-hmm. And this quivering is not making a full contraction, so there's some blood that kind of stays in the chambers of the heart, and it can coagulate and it can cause clots.
And where is your bigger danger? Is it for a heart attack or is it for a stroke, or are they about equal? Because I know that as you said, when it sits there and it's not ejecting fully,
correct,
it's gonna coagulate. Are you in worse danger for a stroke or for a heart attack, or is it about 50-50?
It really just depends. The heart vessels are so small when they terminate at the end. They're so tiny, and you can get a clot to just like a little small vessel, and it might not do you any harm. You might not even notice it. However, if it occludes a bigger vessel or over time, as the heart muscle dies, that's what causes the heart attack. A heart attack eventually leads to cardiac arrest. In a stroke patient, the signs and symptoms of a stroke can occur rapidly. I've watched people that were up and talking. They said, my arm is just kind of a little droopy, doesn't feel right. And by the time they get to the hospital, they're just completely out. So it can rapidly progress depending on where it is in the brain.
So the telltale signs are you get that chest pain. You also get a little something in the left arm, right?
Yeah, that's your standard signs and symptoms is you get sweaty, you get nauseated, you have a crushing pain in your chest, you have the left arm numbness.
The left arm, is that an always thing, or is that a possible?
It's not. So
I didn't have it.
You didn't have any left arm numbness?
Every patient's different, and I've heard that females also have, for some reason, they have different symptoms than men. Sometimes they'll have abdominal pain or back pain. They won't have chest pain. They'll just say, "Man, my back is really hurting me," and you put them on the monitor. It's like, "Wow, we have a problem here."
Yeah.
So,
but it's the big thing is, we've got all this wonderful equipment. We've got all these wonderfully trained men and women. I mean, they have an exceptionally high level of training and efficacy. Don't drive yourself to the hospital.
Yeah, call the ambulance.
Let them come, hook you up, treat you there, and prepare you for an easy ride to the hospital rather than an, oh my God, this guy is stroking out ride in your car.
Right.
This is... and these are deployed already. They're in the units.
They're in the ambulances right now. And I wanted to say to your point, even if you're not sure what's going on, if you just feel weird, you want us to check you out, we'll come look at you. We can put you on the monitor. We can kind of ease your fears. If we don't see anything, we'll let you know. If we do see something, we'll let you know. Either way, just call us, get an evaluation. Don't take the chance.
Yeah, it's never foolish to call. And you know what, most people, I had this. I mean, something bad is the matter.
Impending doom is what they call it.
Yes,
impending doom.
I couldn't believe what came out of my mouth, but yeah, that was it, and that saved me.
Right.
That and the guys from St. George and Nick and Mike.
Yeah.
Nick reminds me, by the way, every time he sees me.
I'll have to
Hey,
tell him
you're that guy whose life I saved.
No, it's like in a restaurant. Hey, everybody, this is Bill. I saved his life. No, he doesn't really.
Lieutenant Brad Harris with East Baton Rouge Parish E.M.S. Thanks for coming in, taking some time with us, and this is all fascinating and good to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I always worry about when's it going to be my father had a heart attack. My grandfather had a heart attack. The other grandfather had a heart attack. So I always wonder as I get older, when's it going to be my turn?
You could do one of those commercials that they've got now. It's like, so hey, you want to go over this weekend? No, we can't. Kevin's scheduled to have his heart attack this week.
Right.
I'll tell you, I know a little bit about what to look out for because I did have about 15 years ago. I had an incident, and took me to the emergency room, and they slapped me on the EKG, and they said, "Oh yeah, it's over now, but you had one."
Yeah, the clock can move. It might occlude for a little bit, and then for whatever reason, it'll break off and go, and you can feel better.
All right. So. Thanks so much for your time.
And we're going to have you back after Thanksgiving to talk about all the things that happen for y'all during the holidays and what people can maybe save themselves an ambulance ride by doing.
Sounds good.
Brad Harris with
y'all.
EBR Parish E.M.S. Always a pleasure to have you. A brief break, and then we're back on Exiles TV. Stick around.
Caught spiders. Premier Pest Services.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Rouge Jr., and I am a general dentist at Rouge Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer welcomes you to our biggest clearance sale of the year, the Happy Honda Days sales event. Get year-end clearance pricing on over 900 new Hondas, plus a complimentary lifetime powertrain warranty with every new Honda. Save thousands on your new Honda right here at Team Honda.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bugg Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
We're back with Exiles TV. We've got about 4.5 minutes left in the program. Bill, a couple of COVID-19 notes. State health officials are saying we should be planning on remaining socially distanced right through the holidays, through Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. Hospitals are starting to get near capacity again with COVID patients. There was a second wave predicted way back in the spring. They said second wave could come in for the late fall, and here it is.
But, you know, I'm not trying to be disagreeable, and I certainly don't want to tell anybody what they should or shouldn't do. But, you know, the thing is, there are an awful lot of people that are going to be like, it's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, it's the only time of year we get all old Uncle Joe and Nana together. And there are a lot of people that just, out of sentimental reasons, are not going to be as careful as maybe they should be. I think that's predictable. But, you know, it's like the people we have Thanksgiving with, and I'm sure the same is true for you, are people that have all been having good, safe practices, and they're all here in Baton Rouge. We don't have anybody that's imported from, say, Illinois coming in that may have been exposed to their surge, which is much bigger than ours.
Right. Our Thanksgiving guest will be one person who spends 90% of her life completely isolated, my sister-in-law. And then 3 other family members who, believe me, they would know if they were sick. They would just know.
Well, if they even suspected they might be sick, they'd stay home.
It's small. It's a party of 6 for Thanksgiving, so I don't think we're violating anybody's rules. Meanwhile, some other things, a second coronavirus vaccine, and I'm going to try and bring up the name of the company, Moderna.
Moderna, yeah, they're a good company.
94.5%, 94.5% effective. This is as opposed to Dr. Fauci's company's vaccine, which is 90% effective.
Well, and both of those, in terms of vaccines, are unbelievably excellent. You put a vaccine on the market if you hit 60%.
Flu shots.
Yeah.
Flu shots are only a little over 50% effective with any kind of guarantee or assurance. and yet, we say get the flu shot, because if we can reduce the number of people that get flu by only 50 some odd percent, that really helps. It helps with stress on the hospitals, etc., from people not getting sick. So here's the question: there are going to be people that because we're suspicious of government, we're suspicious of Dr. Fauci, we're suspicious of the World Health Organization and the CDC and the connections to China, and was this deliberately released on the West by a Chinese lab? There are going to be people that do not want to take the vaccine when the vaccine is available. There's already a growing anti-vax movement for the standard vaccines for kids.
Well,
so there are going to be people that are going to be very resistant to getting this vaccine.
That's going to be something that time will tell. You can't fix, as you like to put it, and I think it's a great term, butt hurt. And most butt hurt really doesn't have any basis in fact. So, you know what? If they showed up tomorrow across the street and said, "We'll give you the vaccine," I would roll up my sleeve. I would. It is certainly not going to harm me in any way.
Let's just put it this way: I'll take my chances. Plus, think about this: it may be required for certain freedoms, freedom of mobility. But you have a card saying, "I've had my vaccine."
See, and then they're going to have a problem with a lot of people, including me, if they get to that point.
No, I don't mind. If I have the vaccine, I don't mind carrying a card saying, "I've had the vaccine. Please let me in."
But it just, I want us all to have great holidays, and I want us to have the warmth and the joy and the love that most of us experience. I don't want to hear that one of my close cousins is in the hospital 8 days after Thanksgiving.
That is our program for today. Tomorrow, we're scheduled to have Stephen Waggis back with the LABI, the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, with us.
In the meantime, stay well, stay safe.
Stay tuned for Clarence Bugs, and God bless.
Thank you.